Nobody noticed him, until the moment the entire gymnasium fell silent. The marching band stuttered to a halt, and a decorated general crossed the polished floor to salute him. Moments before, Caleb Turner had been just another invisible janitor, blending into the walls of Roosevelt High. His hands were rough from years of scrubbing hallways that students scuffed without thought. His back ached from decades of silent service. He moved like a ghost among them, never thanked, barely acknowledged. Until today, the school assembly buzzed with life. Banners flapped. The scent of polished wood and metal folding chairs filled the gym. Students whispered, their excitement building for the special guest, a four-star general coming to deliver a speech on leadership and patriotism. All eyes were fixed on the stage, none on the frail man in the worn gray uniform pushing a mop along the side. That Caleb's presence was as familiar as the creak of the school's old wooden benches. He had been here for years, arriving before dawn, leaving after sunset. The students didn't know his story. They didn't know about the medals folded in his bottom drawer, or the scars that laced his ribs like pale ropes. They didn't know he once stood in jungles thick with the scent of mud and gunpowder, where silence meant survival and honor was carved into the soul by loss. His time in Vietnam had marked him in ways no eye could see now. The night terrors, the weight of names etched into the black wall in Washington, the brothers who never came home. These things clung to him like a second skin. He never spoke of it. Not once. He believed dignity lived in silence. Students laughed when they bumped into him. Some crumpled candy wrappers and let them fall at his feet. Teachers barely looked up as they passed. Even the principal addressed him simply as the janitor, never Caleb. But he endured, quietly, his steps steady, his work precise. Today, as the general's booming speech filled the gym, Caleb swept near the exit, ready to slip away before the closing applause. The general spoke of valor, sacrifice, unseen battles. But Caleb heard the words with distant ears, as if they were echoes from a life that didn't belong to him anymore. Then, as the speech drew to a close, something shifted. The general paused, his gaze sweeping the students, then snagging, unexpectedly, on Caleb. The old janitor's back was turned, his mop moving in slow, measured arcs. The general stepped down from the stage. Students murmured. Confused, he crossed the gym, purposeful, his shoes clicking against the wooden floor, each step cutting through the sea of whispers. When he stopped a breath away from Caleb, silence rippled across the room like a stone dropped into still water. The general's voice was low but carried through the hush. Sergeant Caleb Turner? Caleb froze, his hand tightening on the mop handle. Slowly, he turned, his face creased with the weight of years and disbelief. The general's hand rose to his brow in a crisp, unwavering salute. Every heart in the room seemed to stall. "Sir, it is an honor," the general said, his voice thick with genuine reverence. "We never forgot you." The gymnasium, once alive with careless chatter, now brimmed with something else: shame, awe, realization. The students who had laughed, the teachers who had looked past him, they stood in heavy silence, watching as the man they thought was no one received the kind of salute reserved for legends. A teacher stammered, He's just the janitor." The general's eyes sharpened. "He's not just anything. He carried more than you'll ever know." There it was, the first quote that would echo beyond the walls of the gym. He's not just anything. He carried more than you'll ever know. In that moment, Caleb said nothing. His silence spoke louder than words ever could. His steady eyes held stories too heavy to tell, but his quiet nod acknowledged the weight shared between soldiers. Without waiting for applause, the general turned and strode away, leaving the assembly suspended in a collective reckoning. The principal rushed to Caleb, his face flushed. "Why didn't you ever tell us?" Caleb's voice was soft, but it settled into every listening ear like stones sinking in water. "Some stories don't need telling. Some battles aren't fought with words." Second quote. "Some stories don't need telling. Some battles aren't fought with words." What followed was not a roar, not a cheer, but something more profound. One by one, students and teachers rose, their hands at their sides, their spines straightening as they joined in silent salute. The IT wasn't about medals. It wasn't about titles. It was about seeing someone, truly seeing them, for the first time. In the days that followed, Caleb's story spread beyond Roosevelt High. Not through Caleb. He remained as silent as ever, but through the general's words, through the students who now walked the halls with their eyes open. They spoke of the janitor who had been invisible until respect made him impossible to ignore. Third quote. He was invisible until respect made him impossible to ignore. His name was etched in a plaque by the school entrance, not as a janitor, but as a soldier, a survivor, and a silent guardian of the halls. And still, every morning, Caleb arrived before dawn, mop in hand, moving through the quiet corridors with the same quiet grace, because some heroes don't need to be seen. They just need to be honored. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that reveal the quiet heroes among us.